All right, so we'll jump to my topic. In this hobby, a lot of the travel done is incorrectly labeled as free. Now, what it really is prepaid, but how far is too far in prepaying your travels? Now, this is not to put down welcome offers. This is not to put down your general everyday spend being turned into prepayment for a family vacation or anything like that. But there are other methods in this community that are widely discussed that you're still paying thousands of dollars to potentially save a couple of grand, but you're not focusing on the thousands of dollars that you spent, whether it be on welcome offer, continuous welcome offers, or no lifetime language welcome offers, or engineering no lifetime language offers. And then there's the dark arts that are manufactured spend. But RJ, how far is too far in prepaying for your travel?
So I think this is more individual than one would imagine. Like for Lonnie, he books out a year, sometimes more in advance, but he also knows himself, right? Like he knows if I book a trip a year from now, I'm going to take that trip. Like I'm going to have the points available here. I'm going to book it for here. We're going to be able to go. I'm going to have the PTO. Life is good, right? Like your kid is a certain age, so you can take him out of whatever and go. And that works. For me, I have probably 6 to 9 months of reasonable amount of like assurance to be able to book something out, right? Other people like might have 2 years, they might have 6 months. It really is going to depend on you. And I think people need to look at the last 2 to 3 years of your life, and if you've never been able to book something out and have it actually happen or be able to do that, then you're probably not going to want to book a vacation 2 years from now and have any reasonable amount of success, or try to build points for a vacation 2 years from now if you've never been successfully able to complete that. So I do think that there's some individual components, but I think people need to look at your habits. If you're somebody like I am somebody, and we've talked about this, I am I have three packed bags if something happens that I can grab depending on the situation to leave my house within 15 minutes. Actually, probably by the time it takes me to put on a pair of jeans, I could be ready to leave my house with those packed bags. Like I can just go. Some of that is family members who are might need me or things like that, right? But I am that level of prepared. And when I plan a vacation, I am that level of prepared. If you're not that level of prepared, that's perfectly fine. And most people aren't, to be fair. This is a me thing. But if you're not, then trying to amass a bunch of points haphazardly is probably not going to lead to business class to Europe for 15,000 points, right? Like you have to look at who you are. And if you don't like who you are as a travel person, then you should start making gradual steps instead of trying to like do the old adage of this is the to-do list that will fix every personality flaw I've ever had. Like, probably one to-do list is not going to do that, right? So start putting smaller things, plan a long weekend trip and build up the points. Some people just hate building up points. They rather pay cash for it and then do other things, right? So figure out what kind of traveler you are, figure out how far you can reasonably book. Some people have jobs where they can't book very far out because of whatever. If you have a job that's unpredictable, don't try to book far out. Like maybe amass some points so you can book something more flexibly, but you have to figure yourself out. You have to figure out what you actually will do and not what in a perfect scenario you want to do, and then go from there. If you have something like Chase or Amex, keeping 100,000 points there so you have some flexibility if something pops up is always great. But don't keep 500, 700, 900,000 points on the idea of I just need to have these points so if the perfect opportunity comes up, I'll be there. And then the perfect opportunity never comes up and you die with 900,000 like chase points because you waited 20 years to spend those points waiting for that perfect moment, right? Don't do that. as Lonnie is like to say, have an exit strategy for the points, have an idea of what you want to do. If you have a honeymoon in a year and a half, that is a reasonable thing to build up for. But also involve your partner. Have it be a big plan. Don't just have it be a thing that you're like, oh yeah, I got to build all the points, or I'm gonna get 19 subs in 5 different currencies. Probably, unless everything is going to Avios, because Avios is what, Matt?
Navios is Navios.
It is. If you have something like that's one thing, but know who you are. That is how I have to answer this question, Matt. Know who you are and go from there.
Perfectly sensible. Lonnie, how far is too far in prepaying for your travels?
Yeah, I was writing down a note for my answer to make sure I didn't forget to say it. But I'm going to start off with the how far is too far. And then the blanket answer is unless the airline or hotel allows you to book, then that's too far plus whatever day it is. But I don't necessarily believe there's too far because nowadays, and depending on where you're at financially, depending on where you're at when it comes to your planning or your strategy, and they're not all synonymous with each other. So they could be three independent verticals or categories that you want to engage there. But now you can actually plan even further than that. So think of all-inclusive resort, a rest resort. Maybe you're booking your honeymoon and you actually are one of those few that wants to go to Bora or the Maldives. These are things like if you go look them up today, you can book them for 2027. Cruise lines are another one. Go to any cruise line. I'm pretty loyal to Royal, so go to Royal Caribbean and look at some of their ships. Some ships aren't even finished being built yet. They haven't even been delivered yet. And yet
The
you can
boats.
start booking them for late 2026, early 2027, those types of things. And then, of course, the big cheese himself, Disney. People plan for Disney trips years in advance, save up money for years to go on those types of things. So, as for too far in advance, pick your poison. Do you need that much time? Not too many people can take a $7,000, $10,000 all-inclusive resort cruise ship, maybe a Disney trip, short notice. Oh, you want to go next month? It's gonna let's go half on half, Matt. It's gonna cost you 5,000. I'll come up with my other 5,000. There's a lot of people who are like, I ain't gonna be able to make it. There's also a
Right.
lot of people that'll say, all right, we're gonna put this on some buy now, pay later, and y'all, we're just gonna hope for the best.
Or somebody they don't pay never.
So that's what I consider far or too far in advance. Now, the first part of your question, free. Now, I'm someone that at times I will still say I don't like to pay for my vacations. You really got to read between the lines to understand that. But if you're going to take that for face value in layman's terms, no, I'm actually paying for my vacation. Yeah, as you had
Well,
mentioned
yeah.
in your question, it's prepaid in some way, shape, or form. And even when I go on vacation, I'm still paying for something. I got to pay to eat.
Yeah.
I might have to pay a resort fee, even though I've already booked it, something of that nature. Those types of things happen depending on how you book, of course. But there is different levels of prepay. The first is annual fee. I no longer see annual fees as just annual fees unless you're using it 100. I'm not even going to say 100% as intended. But I like to say an annual fee is just an advance purchase for something else that you're trying to get anyway, especially when you get to the higher ones. And I mentioned this in my Hilton Aspire video from a month or so ago, where it's a $550 annual fee. You get a free night certificate just for being approved, just by accepting the card. You get a free night certificate. That free night certificate you can instantly use on anything as long as it's standard room award. So that's a prepay. You just prepaid $550 to get whatever you're going to use that free night certificate on versus just buying it. You might get it at a discount depending on how you use that free night certificate. Now, the other aspect of not necessarily free is how RJ was mentioning how we decide to use our points in the exit strategy of it. Now, one line I actually do, and I will get behind is don't pay twice for a vacation. It's the reason why I got into credit cards, points, and point stacking in the first place. And that is you have a set amount, a monthly required spend. You have to pay your car insurance. You have to pay your roof, your rent, or your mortgage. You have to buy food. Like, you have to pay your utilities, your water, your heat, etc. You can optimize your credit cards for all of that. Get as many points as possible, and then for everything else, point stack it. That is, you want to go to Adidas website, point stack it. You want to go to Lululemon, point stack it. Those types of things. And being that you're already going to have to pay for at least those finite things guaranteed, but all the other frivolous things you're going to end up paying for anyway. We all buy a little something every single month. If you optimize your spend, then you work all day. You have to spend all this money on this stuff, and you'd rather spend it on something else. And then you need a break, and then you want to go buy a vacation. Now you have to pay for a vacation. And that's where my term of don't pay twice for a vacation comes from. Use all that spend to earn those points that you can now use for that vacation. Now, will it be 100% free? No, because you spent money to get the points to redeem them for that flight, for that hotel, for that trip. But at least it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be subsidized, and you're not paying twice. You're not buying all that stuff and then buying a vacation. You're buying all that stuff and optimizing that point spend that you earn to pay for a vacation. So I won't necessarily say it's free, but I would definitely say you earned it.
That definitely makes a good amount of sense. Far more sense than I think I was trying to make with the question.
That's a good episode.
Yeah.
Hit that like button, y'all.
Smash subscribe along the way. No, I just want to make sure that as folks define their vacations, as they like take on the strategies to build out their points, that they're not thinking about their trip as a free trip anywhere. Like, they put in a massive amount of work and hopefully didn't put in a massive amount of spend just to justify the points that they've put together. Yeah, there's some things that I've noticed where I'm like, did you have to do that? I don't know. Yeah, you're sitting first class in JAL, or you're sitting first class in A, and you're in A&A the room, but what's your credit card bill looking like after? Because of the points that you built up to get A&A the room. Same thing with Emirates, or same thing with, what's the other one I'm trying to think of? Etihad. Like, those big experiences, don't overpay for those. Thanks, Lonnie. Thanks, RJ. RJ.